Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for Mandai Wildlife Group's secondary school teacher sharing session. My name is Vera and I have my colleagues Tingy, Wei Tian and James with me today. We are from the Education Department in Mandai Wildlife Group and today we're very glad to have the opportunity to share some of the sustainability related programs we've been working on to support your school's efforts in the SG Green Plans Eco Stewardship Program. Now, sustainability has become a buzzword of late and really for good reason. Singapore and the world at large have becoming increasingly aware of the climate crisis, which affects all life on Earth, and becoming increasingly aware as well of the necessity to take immediate and effective climate action, both on the higher levels as well as on the individual level. And we believe that it would really take everyone taking action together if we hope to halt and even reverse this crisis. So I hope you see, and I'm sure you see the urgency as much as we do. And maybe that's why you're here joining us today. Now, let me go through what we are covering today in this hour-long sharing session. First, you could expect to learn more about our approach to sustainability as a wildlife institution. Why have we embarked on this journey of sustainability and how it's going for us so far? We would go through some of the programs that you can take up with us and how they can help you, and we'll share how they can help you to bring your environmental education to life for your students. We'll go through two lesson samplers today. One is called A Green Mandai and the other Mission Green Alert. And both are for just general secondary school audience. So any level would be able to benefit from these programs. Now, we will also give you a quick teaser of something we've been working on that is a half-day sustainability program or workshop. So that's still in the works, and today we'll share with you what that's about, where what the students might hope to see and do, and that will be available for booking a little later. And then my colleague Wei Tian from the Volunteer Engagement Unit is going to share some programs that are for volunteering at Mandai. And then we'll go through some administrative matters, like how to book a visit, or how to book a program, what is your website like, and then we'll go through Q&A at the end. Now, some of you might be unaware or maybe unfamiliar with our new brand, our new name, Mandai Wildlife Group. We used to be called Mandai Wildlife Reserve. Wildlife Reserve Singapore, but we recently rebranded. And Mandai Wildlife Group, like Wildlife Reserve Singapore, manages the 4 operating wildlife parks: Jurong Bird Park, Night Safari, River Wonders, and Singapore Zoo, which I'm sure it's familiar to all of you here. Today, we are focusing on programs that are available both in River Wonders and Singapore Zoo. Now, we might have rebranded, but our vision and mission stays the same. We aspire to be a world-leading zoological institution that inspires people to value and conserve biodiversity. And we work to protect biodiversity in Singapore and the region. And a big part of protecting species and biodiversity is ensuring that wild habitats are protected. Wildlife can't live in habitats that are impacted or destroyed, or at least they would struggle very much to do so. And that means that if we are true to our mission, then we need to operate our parks in a way that has minimal impact on the environment, and we need to work as sustainably as we can and have processes that are as sustainable as possible. which is why we have committed to 8 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals and also aligned our organization's strategic thrusts according to them. We found that we also aligned to the SG Green Plan. In education particularly, we share your goal of nurturing stewards for the environment as well. So why are we a good place to visit for your to supplement your environmental education? We believe in the education department that we are not motivated to protect something that we see as not a part of us. Our programs are designed to help students to connect to the natural world. And we see this connection as really the basis to developing a pro-environmental mindset and for taking sustainable action. And a lot of the teachers that we speak to say, how can I get my children to care? How can I get my students to see that this is important? Right. We find that in our parks, it comes, this connection comes easily when students are engaged with the animals in our natural spaces. And in virtual programs, although you're not, physically near an animal or near nature, for that matter, we use photos and videos of our animals, and we use our unique stories to draw the students in and forge the connection there. And very often for learning in school, at least for me when I was in school ages ago, is when we cannot see why we have to learn something. When our teacher says we have to know something and we can't see why, I think that's always a barrier to being really engaged in a lesson. So we believe that our programs can help students to understand their place in the natural world and discover why sustainability is important and relevant, both to wildlife and to ourselves, or in the students' case, to themselves. Right. And when they can see their place in the world is when they can draw those connections to why sustainability education is important, why we need to care for the environment. And to bring our concepts out, we often use thinking routines and STEM concepts in our programs as well to encourage critical thinking. We align as well to the curriculum, the science and geography in particular, for the sustainable program, science and geography curriculum. When we craft our content, when we craft our programs, we always weave in our authentic and our real life examples of sustainable solutions and unique challenges in the zoo. So your students would be able to be exposed to something that is very, very authentic. So today we're happy to share 2 virtual programs samplers with you. The first one is called A Green Mandai, and this covers some examples of real challenges that we face in our parks while running our parks, and the sustainable solutions that we're trying out. And this is available both as a virtual program and as an in-park program. The second is called Mission Green Alert. And it's a virtual workshop style program that is very interactive and quite fun, that introduces students to current environmental issues and invites them to discuss solutions in groups, all on a virtual platform. So we'll start with the Green Mandai. Now, the program begins with a context setting for the need for sustainable practices to fight climate change, and we'll give also an overview of the human activities that contribute to it, and why climate change is even an issue, is the issue of the day. So some of these issues that we, or some of these human activities that we're going to highlight, we try to draw connections to how they would experience or draw connections to their own experience, the things that they would need in their own lives, such as using electricity, generating and using electricity, and the need to, in Singapore, particularly burning fossil fuels, activities such as managing waste, treating water, producing and transporting food, and changes in land use as well. So we go through all these different causes of climate change, and we and we really then the question that we really want to ask is, how can we reduce our carbon emissions in our modern lives, because we all contribute to climate change in one way or another, just by living, right? How can we reduce our carbon emissions and fight climate change? By either saving water or saving electricity, reducing waste, or protecting ecosystems and habitats. And with this base, then we turn to our parks as for examples of challenges that we face while caring for the animals in our parks. And then we introduce various sustainable solutions that we tried. So one example of such a challenge that we introduced is the manatee tank in River Wonders. Now, manatees eat a lot and they also poop a lot. And the tank has to be cleaned twice a week to ensure that it has minimal levels of nitrogenous waste and pathogens, and also has a healthy oxygen level. Right, so we invite the students to help us to think how they would save water if they were working at River Wonders, or help Hafiz here figure out how that works, or how we could do that. So then we go on to share how our life support system works, and then we explain the problem, which is that we use a lot of water to flush out the sand filters and to keep them clean. And then we invite the students to step into the shoes of an aquarist and design a modification to help save water. So in this case, we ask them to draw it out on a piece of paper, and then we'll get a few of them to share their answers. And then we have a discussion after that. So eventually we share the answer, which is, or rather our solution, not to say that is the most correct answer, but rather this is what we have set up. So we are prototyping a plant-based biofilter, which absorbs all the waste, or most of the waste from the wastewater. And we are going to experiment with growing animal feed, which can help us to save costs and also is better for the planet. So there are 3 other examples like this, and we would ask them for after each one to try to think of a solution for these very real problems that we have. And the last real life and unsolved challenge that we face in the park is pitched to the students, right? And which is, how do we get visitors to recycle right at the zoo? So we invite them to brainstorm on a Jamboard, and really the intention here, and everybody puts down their ideas, and we get a whole collection of really cool ground-up ideas from the students. And the intention really is to help them to link their learning back to the challenges that they might see in their own situations in school or at home or in their own community. So after this brainstorm, they leave with more ideas than before to tackle the challenges that they see around them. And also hopefully a sense that even a student like themselves can think of a sustainable solution to real world problems. So this here is an example of a Jamboard session from a program that we did recently. And we got quite good feedback from the students. We asked them what they enjoyed, and a lot of them said that they enjoyed solutionizing at the last part. So if you were to take the program on site in our parks in Singapore Zoo, in Singapore Zoo, we would have all the case studies that I mentioned previously as in the virtual program, but there would be a hands-on addition to be done at the animal playground, which is an animal play space, really cool, that our animal presentations colleagues have created using only upcycled materials from all around our parks. And using elements of STEM and design thinking, the students will be challenged to design and create an upcycle enrichment for a particular animal as well. So these are the links to secondary science as well as geography. So if you were to be teaching any of these topics, you might consider taking this program so that you could bring out some of the topics that the concepts that you are teaching at that point, or just to have a real life and authentic example of how, for example, a tourist attraction would manage their impact on the environment. So going off on a bit of a tangent is we just wanted to share this resource that's available on Student Learning Space. We collaborated with the science branch of CPDD to develop this resource called Giant Pandas Big Deal. And this was created with the intention of making it a resource for student-initiated learning. So it covers, the science behind panda breeding and panda reproduction, how we practice sustainability while caring for our giant pandas, as well as giant panda conservation and diplomacy. So if you had any students who are interested in conservation or sustainability in a wildlife park, you could get them to search on SLS for, I think you can just search panda under student initiated learning, and you'll get there. So do check it out and see if it's useful for you. So that's the end of my pitch for a Green Mandai as well as Giant Pandas Big Deal. Now I'll pass the time over to James, who will tell you more about Mission Green Alert. Over to you, James.
Hello everyone, so I'm James and I will be sharing about our next virtual program called Mission Green Alert. So essentially this is a 1.5 hours virtual program, okay, where the students will experience an interactive gameplay. So if you could click on the next slide. All right, so this experience, right, where we created this interactive gameplay on Genially, using Genially. Okay, and through a fictional storyline, the students will learn about real life issues, okay, such as excessive use of plastic and food wastage. All right, and throughout this gameplay, they will complete missions with the interactive elements that are available, as well as questions that we have crafted within the program. Right, so these are some screenshots from the Genially. So after which they will actually be going into the breakout rooms, because we are using Zoom for this program. So they will go into the breakout rooms where they will go into groups for a brainstorming session on the problems and solutions which they face. They have learned in the gameplay. All right, and once they have come up with these solutions, the schools can actually adopt and realize their ideas, okay, which are feasible, and actually make them into an actual implementation in school, okay, to help eliminate or reduce the waste issues. Right, so this is the screenshot of the brainstorming segment. Okay, we will also share about some examples of how we actually come up with solutions to our problems in Mandai. Right, so the program will end with a self-reflection segment, okay, to strengthen the individual's responsibility of sustainable living. So throughout this program, the soft skills that the students will practice will include like self-directed learning, working with their friends, enhancing their teamwork, okay, communication skills, as well as apply critical and creative thinking skills. Okay, so for today's sampler, okay, I will not speak too much. I'll let you guys have a try and experience of this program. So in the next slide, you'll see a QR code. Okay, you can either use your mobile phone to scan the QR code, or we will provide you a link in the chat. Okay, you can experience it on your laptop as well. So Ting Yi will also be sharing on screen, and I will roughly bring you guys through what or how this virtual platform works. Okay, so if you see on your screen or on your mobile, you'll see that there's a cover page, the Mission Green Alert. Just click the start button, right? And then there's an introduction with the storyline as an introduction to bring the students to this fictional world, right? And there are all the interactive buttons on the screen where they can click on. All right. Okay, so the students will be given two main problems, the plastic waste as well as food waste. So for today's sampler, we'll try with the plastic waste. So just visit the river, and then the students are supposed to read through the information provided and answer questions. For example, this one. Okay, so it's very user friendly. Okay, they just need to click on the buttons as well as discuss with your friends, what are the possible answers. Okay, so if it's not the right answer, there will actually be a page that brings them back to the question. All right, so maybe for the next 5 minutes, okay, we will let everyone to have a go at it. And then once we are done, we will continue with the sharing. Have fun.
Is everyone able to get to the site? The link is in the chat. If you're not able to access for any reason, please let us know.
So if you have gone through the first few slides, you will notice that there's also a mission for the students to collect some letters. So do let us know at the end of the sampler what are the letters that you have collected. All right, see that some of you have collected the letters. All right, so for this program, the students will be actually split into either 2 or 3 groups, okay, and some of them will be working on the plastic issues, and some of them will actually be working on the food wastage issue, right? And they will actually have letters to collect in their own groups and bring it back to the whole group, right? And form a word. Okay, so the letters they have collected are actually part of that word, and to find out what is the word, do subscribe to this program. All right. So with that, we'll end the sampler. Okay, and so this program ties in with the science and geography curriculums, okay, on the topics that are listed there. So if you're interested in this program, do sign up for it for your students. So I'll now pass the time to Ting Yi to share with you the on-site experiences that are coming soon.
Okay. All right, so thanks everyone, and thank you for playing our samplers. I hope it is engaging for you. So if you still want more engaging activity, we have this coming soon that is available for booking from October onwards. So this is a 3-hour program that is in part about sustainability. So it's something like what Vera has shared earlier, just that it will be more intense because it's 3 hours. We will also be bringing you and your students on guided tours facilitated by the education staff, and also there will be some behind the scenes for them to find out what we do right here in Mandai. And of course, the most exciting part, which I think is the most fun part for everyone, will be making enrichment for our animals. So it's also one way that can contribute back to being sustainable in our park. Okay, so this is just to show you one of the activity that some of our colleagues have done for the meerkats. Okay, so with that, let me bring you to my colleague Wei Tian, who will share about volunteering at Mandai.
Thanks, Jingyi. So I think in some of the webinar surveys, some of you indicated that you are interested to learn a little bit more about volunteering or values in action. So myself, I'm from the Volunteer Engagement Unit under the Education Department. So I'm going to share with you a little bit more about what volunteering at Mandai is like. Because at Mandai, for us, what we want to do is to cultivate that community of active citizens in a global world through our various volunteer programs. So the ones that I'm going to share with you today are the one that's available and suitable for individual youth and school groups. So you could encourage individual students to take on, you could also sign up your classes or your CCA group for this opportunity. So if you look at this current slide that we have, our volunteers are very driven by their set of values and a very strong sense of purpose. So it quite ties in quite nicely to the idea of allowing our students in today's world to find their why they want to care so much, why they want to do a part for environment, and to help them develop their intrinsic motivation so that they can make the change within themselves. So what we do in the programs, we allow them to have that increased awareness. We help to increase the awareness on environmental issues, learn more about that and how it affects them. And then we also talk about how we also encourage them to interact with others. So the different programs that we do offer will require them to interact either with their peers or with people from different community groups as well. So through this kind of interaction to develop that sense of empathy and appreciation for the others. So these kind of opportunities and exposures, what we would like to help strengthen is not just their connection with other people, but also with the environment and with themselves. So this is quite centered around the CCE framework, where the 3 big ideas about identity, about relationships, and also about choices. So all this provide a very authentic learning experience for them, because our opportunities are specially curated to help promote that kind of intention and to focus on empowering the students to do a part. Because we don't really believe in telling them to do A, B, C, and D so that you can help people, but we throw out some ideas, but we encourage them to do a bit more critical thinking. We encourage them to really help to strengthen their own competencies, the 21st century competencies, so that they can be future ready. It's not just about telling them what to do, but it's about training and guiding them so that we build their confidence, we build their resilience. So these kind of pedagogical approaches are quite aligned to the CCE approaches as well, because we do incorporate experiential learning, cognitive development, and consideration approaches in our program design. So these will help to maximize their learning and development when they embark on our volunteer opportunity. So what we're going to share with you the 3 opportunities or 3 programs that your students may consider, or you may consider taking your students on. So the first is what we call Wildlife Buddies program. So this is catered for school groups. So it takes place in a larger setting, maybe 20 students, minimum of 20 students. It takes place in park. So this is what we call an in-park guiding or in-park engagement format. Because in this way, we encourage the students to give back to the community while we empower them to take ownership of this experience as well. So depending on your school's focus, the pre-selected group of buddies could be anyone from preschool, primary school, or their peers in the same school. It could even be beneficiaries from social service agencies. So we do have students who bring elderly, who bring students with special needs, who bring primary school kids. So these are the different audiences that maybe for your particular school, you would like your students to interact more with or have exposure with. Then we also have the next Wildlife Buddies program, which takes place remotely. Okay, so also in school group, minimum of 15 students per session. So in this program, what they do is they learn about some of Singapore's native wildlife, and they come up with their own solution to promote coexistence among their peers. But if the students feel up for it, they may even try to take this on and implement this in the local community, within the community itself. So this is really very much inspired by Singapore's vision of becoming a city in nature, and also MOE's focus on enhancing digital literacy among students. So it's a very good opportunity for students to take charge of their own learning, because we are not going to focus so much on all the hard facts. We will share some of that with them, but we will also talk about the skills they require, some of the tips in terms of engaging and communication, so that we can empower them to come up with their own solution and take charge of their learning. Yeah, so these are the two that's applicable for school groups. So if you do have any students any individual students who are especially very, very excited and interested in wildlife, conservation and animals, they can consider this program. We do public run for conservation ambassador program. So what conservation ambassadors do is that they will speak to our park guests, people who visit our park. So they could be locals, they could be families, they could be foreigners and tourists, and they engage in meaningful conversations with them. So in this conversation, we are hoping that they can help us drive that passion and help increase affinity for wildlife among our park visitors. And then through this kind of experience, they would eventually also discover their own strength for the students themselves, their strength, and also find ways to overcome challenges and really learn to be a little bit more confident in themselves. So for all these three programs, it comes along with training sessions. So if you look at these three programs, the focus are quite different. The skills there might be overlapping skills that's required. There might also be different focus. So the training duration will vary depending on which program they take up. But all of this training, it provides an opportunity for them to gain and strengthen, very importantly, the soft skills they require to carry out the task, and also they require in future when they go out to the workforce as well. So these are the three programs that you can consider. I think after this, we will move on to talk a little bit more about the administrative portion of it.
Yes, thanks, Wei Tian. So I hope, I think some of you have questions in the chat. Thanks for sharing. So I think this is the biggest concern, how much are the programs? Okay, so here you go. So as shared earlier, we have the virtual and on-site version. So the prices are as stated here. So I think some of you may be curious about the 3-hour workshop. That one, we haven't finalized the cost yet. So if you are really interested, do just drop Vera or us an email. We can check in with you in a while. Okay, but for the virtual program, it's as stated. Just to share also, the two programs that stated are Green Mandai and Mission Green Alert. You will be receiving $300 voucher after completing the program with us, and this voucher can be used to offset your visit to the park. Yeah, so not to worry about all this information. We will also put it down in the email that we'll send to all of you later. Okay, so the special ones are the on-site for the Green Mandai. So currently it is priced at $8 per pax. This is exclusive of admission tickets. The admission ticket price is also their student rate, so not to worry for secondary school. All this information, it will be available online. We will share those details with you as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna give everybody maybe 30 seconds if you would like to take a photo or maybe do some calculation at the back. Feel free to do so. I'll just give everybody 30 seconds. And yeah, also just to add on one last thing, all these programs are available for booking and July onwards. So if you're considering it as a post-exam activity, feel free to start planning, and you can drop us an email so that we can keep you in mind and even have a tentative booking for you. Okay, so I'm going to just move on quickly. So this is the QR code that will lead you to our website where you can find out more information. There's also pages for resources. I'm going to just quickly show all of you where is it. If you can, do use your phone to scan this QR code, because I think my computer is a bit lag. Okay, but let me try. All right. Okay, so if you Google or you type Mandai Singapore Zoo, they will bring you to our front page, and there is this button here called Learn. All you need to do is just there's this drop down list. So if you are interested in our virtual offering, just click virtual offerings, and those virtual programs will be available end June for you to start clicking and know more about it. Okay, and we have different tabs. So for us today, for all the secondary school teachers here, most likely you will be clicking on this. Currently right now, it is not updated because all these programs are new. Okay, so that's why we're gonna update it in a short while. So they'll be available maybe from end June, that means 1st of July onwards. Yeah. So if you're looking at coming to visit the park on your own, please go to the drop down list and click prepare for your visit. There is the pricing over there for school rates, and you can register your visit with us. Okay. Yeah. So they also will share with you, we also share with you like what to bring, what kind of potential activities that you can do here. So for secondary, IT, and JC, hold on, let me click on it. I hope it works. Okay, maybe not, but not to worry, you can see it over there. Okay. All right, so just let me hop back to my slides. All right, so to end off, I know we're a little bit overrun by a few minutes. Do help us, scan this QR code and let us know how you feel about today's sharing session. So if you want more information, do let us know as well if this has been useful, or what kind of programs do you think we should be, curating for all of you. Okay, so just give everybody maybe a few minutes. In the meantime, if you have other queries, we will answer them in your chat below. Okay, so I'm gonna just move on. I hope you have scanned this QR code. All right, it's time for a very short Q&A. Whoa, okay. So anyone have any burning questions or things that you would like to ask about the program? I mean, thanks. Yeah, Vera should have answered some of your questions already. And also Wei Tian, thank you so much. All good, all very happy. Yay, got programs available. I hope to, in the near future to be able to see you and your students taking out our programs with us. So of course, if you have any further ideas, do share with us as well, so that we can, change up and make our programs even more meaningful for you and your students. Oh, good. Just like the best sharing. There's no question.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi. Okay, let me mute
Hi.
the music. Yes. Hi.
Hui Chu here from Cedar Girls.
Hi.
So I was looking at the one of the volunteering at Mandai programs shared previously. So the first one that says Wildlife Buddies School Group or in park, right? And then students develop activities based on our zoo animals to guide and engage a pre-selected group of buddies. By these buddies, who are the buddies being guided? As in, is it the zoo program for children? They're called wildlife buddies, I believe.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so can I just clarify that if our students, if my school students take part in the volunteering program, so they'll be guiding these wildlife buddies, right? And these wildlife buddies are probably primary school age children.
Okay, so maybe to give a bit of explanation, because I think at the zoo we have a lot of different kind of buddies. So because we have the other program called the Ranger Buddies, so that's a different kind of buddies. So for wildlife buddies, basically the secondary school students will be like the big koko and the tete to the maybe the primary school kids. But this group of buddies, the ones that they are guiding, it's not limited to primary school kids, because it's really depending on which are the core audience you would like your students to work with or to have exposure with. Because for some schools, they would like their students to interact more with maybe the elderly folks, to understand a little bit more about maybe the aging population. That could be another added layer that's brought in. So through that interaction, so there are, in a way, in this program, there are three main stakeholders. There's Mandai, where we provide the maybe a little bit more on the technical part about how to guide, some tips, training tips, and also information about these animals, and really to provide some guidance on developing engaging activities to engage their body. And then you have your secondary school students, your students who are doing the guiding. You also have the buddies that they are going to guide. So these buddies are the one that is flexible, because it will have to be determined between the school and the students. So by the school, who you want to guide. So then sometimes the teachers would take the extra step to liaise with the organization themselves. They settled on these buddies to guide, and then they get the students on board. For some schools where they feel like their students are a little bit more enthusiastic, a little bit more mature, they know how to deal with all this liaison and things like that, then they will get the students to propose who are the buddies they want to take on this trip to the zoo. Yeah, so the reason why there are some people take, some of the schools take beneficiaries from social service agencies is that because for the zoo, we do allow complimentary for some of the I think most of the social service agencies group. So for them, if they have the special, they call it a DDR card, it's a little bit technical, but they do get complimentary admission. So then they don't really have to worry so much about getting them into the park, but they can focus on the guiding. Then we do have some of the students who are maybe they can make this into as elaborate as possible as they are up for. So they could even do a little bit of fundraising in the school to sponsor this trip for the beneficiaries. And then from really right from the beginning of the school year all until maybe it ends maybe a few months later. So it's not just the training at the park or the training we provide them. So what we do is maybe a portion of it. And then it could be a very school-based initiative or a school-initiated kind of a program where you want to kind of sponsor or support this group of beneficiary. So you can go to the centers to engage and interact with them. And then maybe the third session is a visit to the park. That could be how extensive you want it to be. So I think the beauty of this program is that for the schools, you can scale up, you can scale down. So it's really dependent on how much resources are you able to put into this program. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, yes, it clarified who the buddies are.
Yep.
So how long have y'all implemented this program, or it's new?
We actually have been implementing this since I think more than 10 years. So it's been ongoing, but the program has been improving consistently because as we get more understanding of the different pedagogical approaches, and as the MOE syllabus or focus change, we will tweak a little. So the current approach or the current intent is really to build in a little bit more design thinking elements, which is why we put a bit more focus on getting the students to develop the activities. Because a long time ago, it could be just, okay, I will train you to do a guided tour and that's it. But with times changing and the focus and the priorities and what we want to develop in our students change, I think we move along with times. Fundamentally, it's still a good program, but we have to just adjust and improve it as we go along. So right now, the focus or the slight tweak to this program is really the portion about getting the students to think about activities that they can engage. At the same time, we still inculcate that communication skills, the guiding skills into the students, the part about getting them to know their body a little bit more, that perspective taking, it is still there. So that doesn't change.
Can I also check that for the conservation ambassadors, is there a minimum number of hours that is required for the ambassadors to clock in?
Yes, so for the conservation ambassadors, as I mentioned previously, this is a little bit more because we do public runs, and for the students or the conservation ambassadors, they will have to speak to the guests on their own, and we may or may not be in the park at all times. So there is a minimum age requirement for this particular program at 15 years old, so from Sec 3 and above. So the minimum commitment is 12 duties in 12 months. So within a year, they come 12 times. Every duty is 2 hours. So they can commit 2 duties in a day, and and then they will just have to come for 6 days. Yeah, so we allow that bit of flexibility. Some students may prefer to do more during the school holidays. That's fine too.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? If not, we also don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you so much for staying extra 16 minutes with us. So if you have further questions, email us. We'll be glad to answer your questions. Not to worry, we'll be sending the recording and also more details about the links and all in an email to all of you once this recording is ready. All right. So thank you so much. Just let me bring all of you back to our email. So if you need our email, take a screenshot. Yeah, we'll get back to you. All right. With that, thank you, teachers, for joining us this afternoon. We hope it has been a meaningful one. So yes, take care and bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.